Hi everyone. Okay, so it appears that I managed to start the stream successfully. It's been a while, so apologies. Is everyone okay? Can everyone hear me and see me just fine? Um, I am echoing. Okay, let me try and fix that real quick. Apologies. What is happening? Echo on microphone. Let me try and fix that. Can you hear me okay now? Is it still echoing? This is the first time I'm using OBS to stream, so obviously I didn't set it up correctly. Is it still a problem? Did I get it fixed? Is it okay? Okay, awesome. So there's definitely some delay as well, so I'm still getting used to that. I also turned off a background track I was using because maybe that was part of the problem. So anyway, thank you guys for showing up. We'll get things started right away. I appreciate you coming here. So this is essentially kind of like a freestyle for me right now because I do want to publish a new gig. So my train of thought was, what if other people could benefit from actually viewing the process of how the sausage is made? Because what happens is I've done this for so long and I've done this so many times that some things are just knowledge to me. Like, I think that everyone feels the same, everyone thinks the same, and everyone has the same, set of experience as I do. And so I kind of like want to make sure that people can view my process and then ask me questions as I go along, because I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that I'm doing sort of like semi-automatically, but people don't know about them. So without further ado, let's get started with the stream. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating a gig from scratch completely. The part of the process that you're not going to be able to see is all my notes and all the research I've done up until now. I have prepared everything in order to be as efficient as possible. So I have a document that has every single line of text I'm going to need for the creation of my gig. I have all my images ready for the gallery. I have the video preview because, my gigs are on the video vertical, so video and animation. So I have everything ready to go, and now all we have to do is just, start the process. At any point during the stream, I don't know how much delay there is. There are several seconds, I'm guessing, but at any point, if you have any questions, just shoot them. I have the live chat window open all the time. So anytime I do something and someone's like, hey, why are you doing that? Or why do you choose that? Or what's the meaning of that? Just ask away, and I'll pause for a second and explain the reasoning behind my choices and exactly why it is I'm doing what I'm doing. So let me go full screen for a second, and yeah, let's get started. So obviously, I'm gonna select this option because I'm choosing to create a pro gig because my account is a pro account. So let me just share a quick preview of what I've done to prepare. So this is a document that I'm preparing every time I actually create a new gig, which is like me kind of like taking every single step of the process, highlighting stuff, prioritizing, making sure that everything is on the up and up. I'm following guidelines, and I am optimizing as much as possible, which is what I will try to explain what all the color coding is about. So I'm gonna start with the title of my gig, which again is something that I have researched, and I didn't, I tried to come up with it using actual data of what I think will gain me traction in the marketplace and what the marketplace is offering at the moment in terms of competition. So here's our title. So I will produce a banger 3D product animation video. So essentially what the color coding means is obviously the produce could be anything else like create, make, whatever. The verb doesn't matter as much. And this is the template that Fiverr uses. So I will is on by default. So this is the adjective that I'm using, which is basically not super important, and it will actually be ignored by the algorithm and the SEO that Fiverr is kind of like doing in the background. So again, this is like a preference, a personal preference. It doesn't matter as much. It's just a word I like for this, and it actually helps me stand out. This is the most important part of my gig title, and my submission in general. This is the most important part. This is actually the strain of keywords that I want to use to make sure that I'm actually going to be successful in having this gig ranked, and having this gig, being as high as possible on search results. So I'm just gonna copy the gig title and paste it right here. So the shorter the title, the better. And that's because you don't want the title to reach the absolute maximum limit that Fiverr has, because then line breaks are weird on mobile and on several other places. Then I'm gonna choose my category, which is video and animation, and then the subcategory, it's 3D product animation for now. So this is where things get really specific. I don't know what you guys are selling, but it's gonna be different for everyone. So I'm gonna choose an industry, and this is like really weird for Fiverr. They should update this. There are not enough industries, there are not enough categories, I guess, most of the time. But I'm gonna choose film and video for mine right here. And then again, the gig metadata is going to be super specific to everyone's gig. So I'm not sure they're going to apply to you or not. But in my case, I am shooting for realistic in terms of environment and file format. I'm going to provide MP4 and movie files. So that's definitely super specific to my use case. Any questions up until now? Is the stream still working? I'm not sure. I'm just gonna forge ahead. So let's move over to tags. And so I know for a fact that the 3 tags right here that I've highlighted green are super in demand right now on Fiverr, from the other side of things, when it comes to buyers searching for stuff. It's not, and this is something I'm gonna talk about a bit later, but it's not that everything is gonna be specific to what I do or relevant. I just know that those terms are in high demand. So it's best if I were actually to use them as tags, because that means that my gig has an even higher percentage, a higher chance of getting picked to be served to buyers whenever they search for those terms. So how do I know those terms are efficient? Well, here's the thing. There's a new feature that's gonna come probably in a couple of months' time for Seller Plus users, that will actually show you that data. So every time you create a gig, you will be able to see what sort of terms buyers are using, what sort of terms are relevant to your niche, and so you will be able to capitalize upon that knowledge and actually use those terms to rank your gig. Right now, how I know them is I talked to a bunch of people on Fiverr. So plus I did some research on my own, and I figured out what trending terms we have on the marketplace. I'm not talking about Google trends. I'm talking about specific to the Fiverr marketplace. So again, I have some color coding happening here, which is like the green ones are the ones that I know for a fact are gonna be complementary to what I'm using here. So these are not gonna contradict my gig title. They're not gonna hurt me in any way. They're not gonna be what we call negative tags. And these are kind of like neutral. These are like me shooting in the dark and kind of like thinking, okay, so maybe they're looking for some specific thing like photorealism, or they're looking for commercial. And there's another tag that I kind of came up with, because if people are searching for this term, which is the software I'm using, maybe they will be using this term as well, which is like a buzzword right now, which is like a plugin that actually helps 3D renders be photorealistic. So again, this is super specific to what I do. But think of it this way, like if you were writing a copy, like if you were to throw in the mentioning like a key as a keyword, I don't know what's it called, like Copyscape. Like there's a software that kind of like checks for whether a copy is legitimate or copied or pasted or whatever. So maybe think about those terms when you're creating your gig. So in my case, I will definitely use these tags, and I will stop showing my word screen because I want to focus on the Fiverr end of things. So I'm going to use 3D motion graphics, which is one tag I came up with, and then 3D animator, and then cinema 4D. And here's another cool thing about tags. Let me just paste everything and make sure everything's correct. Commercial, and I'm gonna go with photorealistic. Cool, so that's done for now. So another thing about tags is, this is like, because most people voted about SEO practices, so I'm gonna expand upon this for a little bit longer. So essentially the gig title has the most impact. And by most impact, I mean 90% of whether or not Fiverr is gonna ignore or consider your gig is gonna be your title. So if you have a good indicator of what the best strain of tags is, you need a coherent, obviously, sentence to be used as a title, but you also need to kind of like guesstimate what people are looking for. So in my case, right now, 3D product animation video, we start with 3D product, which is like the thing that if someone were to type out on the search bar, Fiverr would auto-complete it. And I know that Fiverr would then either use animation or video or a combination of, or animated video, it doesn't matter as much. So as long as I start with 3D product and then animation and video, then I'm covering everything. Which means that at least my title for now, because I haven't done anything else, at least my title is super relevant for Fiverr. And I've talked about this on the forum a bunch of times in past streams, but it's very important. Relevance is key. Like, it's super important. Fiverr is a matchmaking service, so they're trying to essentially figure out if what you're offering is what the buyer searched for. So if Fiverr dings that to be a good match, then they're going to serve your gig as high up as the results as possible. So tags, if you duplicate anything on the gig title on tags, you're essentially, you won't be punished. It's not going to have any negative impact on your gig's ranking, but at the same time, you're wasting precious space. Like, you can only use 5 short terms right here as tags. And so if you double dip and you use the exact same sentence, it won't help. It will just waste one of your tags, and you want the tags to be as complementary as possible. So yes, people may be looking for 3D product animation. If the buyer, while searching, for any reason, decided that they wanted to add Cinema 4D because someone told them that that's the software that the sellers should be using, or they know they want a commercial video, so they're going to use the term commercial. So if they add that cherry on top, that means that boom, right then and there, I'm going to be the very first thing that they're going to see, regardless of gig performance and all that good stuff we'll talk about in a minute. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I had to say about the gig title and tags. I'm gonna save and continue. If anyone has any questions, just please go ahead and ask, or if something wasn't explained properly, I'm just gonna continue. And here we go. Again, this is like this is going to be super specific to my vertical, because all these options will not be available, obviously, to people who are not selling gigs in this category. But the core premise remains. So once again, let me share my Word document right here. So after the tags, I have the 3 packages all laid out, ready to go. But we have a question. Your green tags are rather specific, long tail terms compared to the yellow ones. Are the yellow ones vague on purpose to cast a wide net? Yes, exactly, bingo. The yellow ones are like rough guesstimates, and those are the 2 tags that I'm gonna be monitoring moving forward when I'm viewing my analytics. So if I see that, you know, my click-through rates and my impressions are fair and good enough, I might not tweak them. If I see anything abnormal, and by abnormal I mean poor performance, those are the 2 that I'm gonna swap out. I'm not gonna touch the 3 green ones. Don't you think more specific ones would be better, or is that because longer term with those long words from the yellow tags would be too long for the character? Yes, again, I don't wanna be too specific, because I am being specific with my green tags, the ones that I know for a fact are gonna work, complementary to my title, and the ones I got confirmation that are in really high demand. Again, you're gonna be, Frank, this is good and all, you talked to someone from Fiverr and he gave you that access, but you know, we don't have that. Be patient, that thing is coming. This is why I'm including this on this video, because soon enough you will have an immense data source that is going to tell you will no longer have to guess. Like, Fiverr is going to be this is, you know, what people are looking for, so if this is what you're offering, this is how you're going to phrase it. It's a game changer. So I hope that covers the question. Another question, I noticed you didn't update the SEO title. Is that for later? Let me go back a step real quick. Upgrade SEO. So, okay, so this is not as important right now. This is more something that has to do again with performance. So I need to publish something. I am assuming, like, I have it on good authority that this title is the best title that I'm gonna be using. So the SEO title I'm gonna use as is for now. This is a really good tool, and because URLs can't be changed in the future, that's the only thing that you can't change. at a later date. So it's important to get this down pat. Like, you can't change your service later on. You can't do something different. This is what you're going to be offering because you can't edit that. This you can edit. And this one, I want to see how my gig performs for at least a couple of weeks before I consider changing and updating the SEO. Or maybe new trends appear on the marketplace, or maybe someone starts copying me and has the exact same settings like a bunch of people, or maybe the trend now is completely different and I have verification from Fiverr that they are no longer looking for 3D product animation video, they're looking for Cinema 4D videos, like whatever. So that's when I'm gonna come back and revisit the SEO title. But for now, anything I added to the gig title is as good as it gets. Hope that covers that question. Okay, thank you Fiverr for the red exclamation points, like I did something wrong. Okay, so again, let me bring up my Word, my trusty Word file. Again, this is all pre-prepared, so, and this is a template I have, by the way. Like, if anyone's interested, I can share the file so you can, you know, start using the same exact framework when it comes to all the pre-production, I like to call it, work of publishing a new gig. It has helped me streamline my process and actually keep it organized, and actually writing the description and filling out all the boxes is what I dread the most. As a creative, like I feel like my work is done when I create a super cool demo video and when I plan my service ahead of time. You know, the hard part is actually doing the work and writing the words and making it look appealing to your target audience. So this is what I'm dreading, and this framework and this template has helped. Wait, we have a question from Irid. So you don't recommend to change gig title if we need to change it is not recommended? No, you can change your gig title at a later date and adjust. What I said was Fiverr doesn't allow you to change the URL. The URL is always tied to the gig title. So when you actually first create the gig, you need to make sure that you're 99% sure that this is what you're going with for the rest of time. So that way, any minor tweaks you do to your title at a later date will not contradict the actual URL people will see once they click your gig. And I know that from experience because, quick story, when Apple first introduced, like 6 years back, I wanna say, the app preview videos on the App Store. So I created a service that kind of like capitalized on the fact that back then, not a lot of people were able to record footage from their app. So my gig title was, I'm gonna record footage from your app, blah, blah, blah. And that remained my gig URL. But now my service is like, you're gonna provide me with everything and I'm gonna create the best video possible. So now the URL completely contradicts my offering, which is weird. It hasn't come up a lot, but I don't like it. Maybe it's my OCD talking, I don't know. So I hope that covers your question, and let's go right back to the gig creation process. So, and this is like the meat and potatoes of the presentation. So if anyone has any questions in terms of how I came up with packages, pricing, why I'm doing things a certain way, why I picked this, you know, duration, amount of words, whatever, like, if you want to talk packages, let's talk packages while I'm actually creating my packages. So let me start. I'm gonna focus on the Fiverr. Okay, so I'm gonna paste it right here. 15-second video, and then video and static renders, and again, this is not super like it's important to be clear, but it's not like something that you can't change in the future. Like the most important part again is the first page, essentially, of the wizard, and you need to make sure that your title is like the best title it can be in terms of relevancy. Okay. So for now, I'm gonna call this video only, and this is like video plus images, and this is video plus multiple channels. And delivery time for me is going to be the same throughout for now. And this is on purpose. This is by design. It won't take me 30 days to complete the service, I'm assuming. But this is the very first time I am actually venturing on this vertical. And I don't know if you guys know, but 3D video is super complicated to make. And so this is me adding a bit of padding, making sure that if something, I haven't worked out all the kinks, like I haven't had a real client right now on Fiverr with this whole set process. I've done this outside Fiverr, obviously, but I want to make sure that when the first client comes, I'm not, you know, I didn't account for that, or this isn't working as well due to, you know, all the constraints that Fiverr has in place. Okay, so this is actually the description I want to use. So this is super important for the viewer to understand. Like, your buyers need to make sure that they know what it is that you offer and what it is you don't offer and what they can expect. This is like the very first time they are gonna glance over you actually setting expectations. Actually, this is what it is. So you want to make sure that these are as clear as possible, and you want to make sure that there's no confusion or something implied. Nothing is implied. You need to be as clear as possible. So this is super boring for me because I'm actually, okay, this is something I feel like I should mention. Like, I see most sellers trying to offer something like the basic package is something like a little bit, and then they add a bit more for the standard package, and then they add like a lot more for the premium package. And that might have been working in the past, but I feel like, you know, right now where the marketplace is at, it's better to have the same amount of service. Like, this isn't the little box and the big box and the medium box, whatever. Like, this is the same amount of service throughout, so that people don't actually regret not being able to afford X and Y, which is like your standard or your premium package. What you should be, you know, maybe probably shooting for is, you know, having the complete service on the basic package, so that people don't feel like you're trying to do a switch and bait. Like, I'm gonna make a 15-second video, and then when they actually purchase and move to the gig extras, you know, they see that, you know, half of the video is an extra, or they need to pay more for, you know, whatever, an actor or voiceover or whatever. So I want to make sure that if they buy the basic package and that's it, they don't consider the extras, they don't know how to add them, they don't know what they're doing, they haven't read the frequently asked questions section or the description at all, I want to make sure that they're going to get what my title advertises. So in my case, this is why this is boring, because everything needs to be clicked on across all three packages. Because I offer the same thing, but my standard package has something different. I considered, you know, from a marketing perspective, like, I'm shooting for people that want to market their products. So it makes sense for me to offer video plus images, which is one thing for the standard package. And my premium package is, you know, the same video, making sure that when they get it, they're going to get all the different shapes and sizes for all their social media. So again, this is important. This actually costs more to make. So, you know, the premium on the price is kind of like justified, but this is not me trying to fool them. And if they, you know, went for the basic option, they would get any less of a video. Like, they're going to get the same quality throughout. Let me pause for a second. Another question. Do you know how important the names for basic, standard, premium, gig are for SEO? No, they're not important at all. The important part about the names of the packages is to be super crystal clear to your buyer. This is just the video. This is just the article. In your case, I think you're a writer. This is just the article. This is article plus SEO, and this is, you know, article plus research, whatever you want to sell. Some people have fancy names for the packages which don't really have any SEO value, like bronze, silver, gold. Yeah, that's a bunch of baloney. You know, it doesn't hurt the SEO, but at the same time, I don't know what bronze is, and I wouldn't buy the bronze option versus the gold one. You know, it's kind of like they're shooting themselves in the foot, because this is the place for you to actually be super clear. This is, you know, meat and potatoes, this is meat and greens, and this is like soup. Like, be clear. This is what's on the shelf. Do you want it? Did you mean to buy that one? You need to be as clear as possible with your 3 options. Again, I think I covered this on a recent post on the forum, like when I said use every available option when creating a gig, and this is important. Like, because I offer the same thing throughout 3 packages, maybe it would make sense for me to not confuse my buyer and have a single offering and don't opt for the 3 packages. But Fiverr wants the 3 packages. Like, I know for a fact they're gonna appreciate it more, and they're gonna rank me a bit better because I'm offering, you know, a diversified service and I'm giving people multiple options. So I'm not gonna fight Fiverr over this. So I'm gonna, you know, offer the same service throughout, same quality throughout, and the different price comes from different bundles, I guess you could call them. So I hope that covers that question. I don't want to offer those 2, doesn't matter. I don't want to go into the specifics. I hate them. So revisions, this is important. You know, I would go for none, but you know, that's impossible. Like, you need to be in a vacuum for that to happen. So unlimited, again, you know, if anyone's offering unlimited revisions, stop right now. It's never going to work out. And so I'm going to pick the minimum amount, I guess, even though that's not, you know, going to be my firm policy. Obviously, I'm all about making sure this is the right fit and making sure that what I present my buyers with actually works for them. So, you know, it's not, I just want to make sure they understand that, you know, limitations are there. After I onboard them, it's super clear how many revisions I offer per stage of production. So this is just here as a visual indicator that, you know, they're getting something as far as revision goes, but it's not super clear that I'm talking about a per stage production cycle, I guess, which I think applies to anyone regardless of their gig. So pricing, okay, this is the easy part. Oh, wait, yeah, okay. So again, this is like only relevant to my gig and what I'm offering right now. Plus, you know, I did spend a couple of days researching this specific vertical. I checked out the competition. I saw what they were offering, how they were presenting it, what were the options, how they priced their service. And to be honest, I did consider pricing my gig extremely low for now, you know, for the first couple of buyers, because that would mean I would immediately stand out from my competition, not just because of pricing, but because of the quality of work that I'm going to upload in just a little bit. But that would mean that when I raise my price, like, people would be confused. So again, I don't want to attract buyers that I don't want to work with. And by that, I'm not being racist or anything, but I just want to make sure that, you know, I establish the right fit right away. They don't have to talk to me at all if they didn't want to. So by setting the price exactly where I want it for now, because, you know, obviously it's only going to go higher as I move forward, to be honest. That's exactly what's happening with every professional freelancer. Like, the cheapest price for my service is the one you booked me for last time. That's the rule. Because every time you add more to your service, you're more experienced, you're more able to deliver results. So yeah, I'm not gonna do a bait and switch or a super, you know, first 5 people to get the service get it cheaper for whatever reason, because that's actually detrimental to my positioning. My positioning is premium service, premium, results. So yeah, I want to attract that crowd. For anyone else, every other seller that I saw that offer the same thing for less. So I don't want to use the extra fast delivery for now, because I've rehearsed this a bunch of times. I haven't seen the real production cycle, how much it's going to take me and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to fill these last couple of gig extras. Subscriptions. So I'm not a huge fan, especially when it comes to premium, big ticket items, but I will add them because, Fiverr likes it. It's a new feature. They want it to go well. So even though it may not make sense for the clientele I'm shooting for, it's good to have. And it's not hurting anyone. Like if someone buys a subscription and I'm not okay with the discount I just gave, I'm just going to lower it or remove it altogether. So save and continue. Okay, so description. So this took me like a week to write. It looks like, oh my gosh, it's super easy. Like all you have to do is copy and paste. Well, no. Yes and no. Yes, now I just need to copy and paste, but this took me like 2 weeks of, oh my gosh, so many rewrites. You don't even know. So this is, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. I need to first paste either on txt. Oh, that messed everything up. Wait a second. Okay, my formatting is kind of like being gets messed up when I copy and paste it. I don't know what that is. Let me fix it real quick. So in the meantime, let me tell you that the reason why it took me such a long time to write and rewrite my gig's description is because, well, after the title, it's the most important part of your gig, because it does use SEO. So again, you will see that I am using some keywords, but you can't no longer, and I see people posting on the forum a lot about this, like use tags and density and stuff that only makes sense when we talk about Google search results and not Fiverr search results. So Fiverr doesn't calculate tags and density and bold and everything that may apply to Google search results. It's a completely different ball game. You should use some tags. There you go. You should use some tags when writing out your description, but this is super important. It needs to make sense. It needs to make sense. So here you go. 3D product animation, boom, right there. As soon as possible, I hit them with the main tag, I guess, my main title, the thing that's most important for Fiverr to understand that this is relevant to my buyers. But it actually is a sentence that makes sense. Yeah, maybe there's no intro like, hey there, welcome to my service, whatever, but I don't think that's important. Like people want to get straight into it. Like, what is this? Is this for me? What do you offer? So this is it's not maybe the most well-written sentence, but it is functional. It makes sense. It's like a human wrote it, not a robot, whatever. So if you notice, oh wait, what happened? Create video content. What's the last sentence that I missed? That will drive results. Oh, maybe I'm going over. I didn't account for the formatting. If the answer is yes, then let's discuss your marketing objectives and see how we can create a video. Okay, I went over the limit because Obviously, I counted the characters incorrectly when I was reviewing the document, so that's interesting. And by interesting, I mean boring for the stream. Anyway, so let me quickly fix it. And let's discuss your marketing objectives. Okay, any questions? Why is this happening? Oh my gosh, this is super frustrating. I know for a fact I'm not over 1,200 characters. Am I? Oh, yeah, I am by 13. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna obviously edit this at a later date. This is good enough for now. Again, not super important. So let me add the frequently asked questions, and then I'm gonna use the milestone feature because, to be honest, I haven't used it and it's gonna maybe take a while. In the meantime, anyone has any questions about what I did so far, about SEO? Maybe we didn't cover everything. Maybe you want to ask me something specific to your vertical, to what it is you do. Maybe what I've done so far doesn't translate exactly 100%. Like, let me know in the chat. In the meantime, I'm just copying and pasting my frequently asked questions, which is the most useful tool at our disposal as sellers. But at the same time, it's the thing that buyers almost never get to. Like, they never read the frequently asked questions based on what they ask when they inbox me and, you know, all that good stuff. I don't know what your personal experience is. And that's not specific to Fiverr. That's actually happening on my website as well. And yeah, I don't know what we could do about that. Only a couple more. And almost done. It's important that when you're writing the frequently asked questions, you actually, you know, use your experience up until now with what prospects are asking for when they're chatting with you. It's a good place to actually mention part of the process. It's a great place to mention what the very first step of the process is, because people are like, okay, I need this, I want this, maybe I can afford it, but what would I have to do? Like, is it a lot of work? Is it a little bit of work? Like, how does it look like? So yeah, mentioning your process is super important, and this is the place to do it. Last question. And boom. And that's that. Let me see if anyone has any questions. Okay. Is the URL, Vicky, hi Vicky. Is the URL for only Google search and not for a Fiverr search? Well, no, it's actually being crawled by Fiverr, the Fiverr engine as well. So in a sense, it needs to be correct, which is why your initial title needs to be correct. But after a while, it doesn't make as much sense because, and we'll get to that part later, hopefully, Fiverr actually uses your performance and whether or not you're using the promoted gigs feature, and whether or not, you know, the buyer searched for that exact thing, and whether or not there are 5 other people who perform as well as you but have better tags. So it's a really complicated machine. But yes, the URL is not just for Google indexing, I guess. Fiverr actually uses it to index, but the title is 90% of the work. So even if you update the title at a later point and that title is better, then your ranking will improve regardless of what that first, URL was. So it's not as important when it comes to Fiverr indexing, if that answers your question at all. Another question, do the frequently asked questions section have any bearing on a gig's SEO? Yes. If you use it, you will rank better than anyone else who's not using it. If you're using all 10 questions and your competitor is using 9, and again, it's down to the wire, you will outrank them even by a little bit. Terms and keywords and such bear very little to any weight. So don't try and, use the frequently asked question just to kind of like cram words in there and buzzwords and hopefully get picked up by the Fiverr engine. That's not what it's there for. But if you don't use it, and if you don't use it to its full extent, you're kind of like shooting yourself in the foot once again, because Fiverr likes to see that you have every single thing used. It can't tell exactly what your questions are about and how great they are. I'm assuming they have some sort of metric if people are, clicking on your frequently asked questions and, the answers, appear on the UI. So this is an assumption, I'm not sure, but I do know that they're not crawled or indexed or something like that. So don't try and use them just to cram a bunch of words in there that don't make sense. They will not help you index. But if your frequently asked questions section is sound and you actually have figured out what questions you need to answer beforehand, it will help you tremendously when it comes to onboarding clients or getting that sale in without people needing to message you. So conversion will go up, performance will go up, you will rank better just because of that. I think you had 30 days delivery time for all packages. Do you experiment to see if faster or longer delivery times do affect your orders, or do you just choose the delivery time you want, period? No, I choose the delivery time I want, period. On my templated gigs, like my regular ones that are like fast food consumption ones, I like to gauge the competition and see if it makes sense to go in lower. Again, this is really specific. Like if I want to, under promise, you'll get this in 3 days, and over deliver, they get it in 1. This again creates, a pleasant experience for the buyer, but at the same time, it's padding that I need, because if I have 10 gigs at the same time, which has happened before in the past, and all 10 gigs are 3-day gigs, or because Fiverr won't update the gig creation process, like the gig ordering process, like people can order the same 3-day gig, but add it multiple times over. So they give me like text for 5 videos, but I need to do them in 3 days. So again, this is not me trying to cheat the system or cheat my buyers and say, hey, you get it in 3 days, and they do get it in 1. Because that's just me. I'm creating some padding always. Even if something takes me 15 minutes to do, I would never advertise that it takes 15 minutes to do, because life happens, order happen, a bunch of stuff may go wrong, and you don't want to miss a deadline. Not just because of ranking and metrics and all that good stuff, but because you want to be consistent and deliver results. Did you say 10 frequently asked questions, says Vicky, at minimum? I'm saying use as many questions as Fiverr allows you to. Right now, I think I have a couple of more to go, but I'm not focused on that too much right now. I want to get this published as soon as possible, and this is always something that I can edit a couple of days later when a couple of buyers came to me and there's a question that I didn't figure out. I didn't want to overcomplicate it. And again, this is like contradictory, I guess, but this is very important. I do suggest that you use all the questions. The reason why I'm not using all the questions right now is strictly to get things rolling a bit faster, and because I know that whatever I have on here is golden. Like that's That's all I could come up with. Anything else I need to come up with after I see what people are asking for. And this is something I can edit at a later date and wouldn't hurt my gig in any way. I can just add a couple of questions, update one or two, or clarify a bit more. So I think I answered everything. Let's move on to the Milestones workflow, which is brand new. This again, I don't want to do it. Like, this is something that I will add to my gig strictly because it's something that I know for a fact they're pushing really hard for. Like, I don't know if you guys are buying on the platform at all, but I got at least 3 emails up until now telling me as a buyer that, oh, did you know that, you can pay for Milestones and blah, 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 and it's more secure that way, because they're actually betting on the fact that people may not be able to afford or may not feel confident enough to, give out that initial investment. Let's say your gig is $100, and so they don't feel confident enough that they want to shell out the $100. But what if you were to give them the first step of the process for 50 or 25? But that would help conversion. Again, this is something that makes sense for Fiverr. It doesn't make sense for from my point of view, I guess, because as a premium service provider, I want to make sure that I'm not giving them a line budget kind of thing. Like, if I write the script, it's $50, and if I animate, it's 100, and the illustration process is 150. I don't want to do that, because the minute you do that, that's when people say, oh, okay, but I have a script prepared, so let's subtract that amount from your final price. I don't want to do that. I don't want people to associate, amount of money with, hours I put into this. I'm delivering results, and this has always been my point of view. Like, you need to be offering value versus, tasks completed. So that being said, I know they're pushing for this real hard, which means that the Fiverr algorithm and the search engine and everything will actually give me a tiny boost if I use it. So let's see if I can use it correctly and manage to not hurt my positioning, which is a premium service, but at the same time have a bit of leeway and meet them halfway actually, and make sure that I do use this feature, because it seems like Fiverr actually really wants this feature to work. So I'm gonna use a template, and I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. Okay. Again, this applies for everything. Edit, sidestep. This is gonna be a video meetup, and save step. Where can I adjust the pricing of it though? Let me try this again real quick. Video meetup. Yes. But okay, there's something that I'm missing here. When I tried to do it beforehand, I did a kind of like a dry run. It was completely different. This payment option cannot be combined with it can't be combined with subscriptions. So that's interesting. I learned something today. So because I use subscriptions, I can't use Milestones, which is weird. Okay, I'm gonna go with subscriptions, to be honest, for now. And then I'll come back and edit it if I feel like that's the way to go, to be honest. Phew. Requirements. Okay, so this is great because this is like not as important right now because of my pricing, because of the pro nature of my gig, because of a lot of factors that I know for a fact, because this is not my first rodeo. There's no way I'm gonna publish the gig and get an order in right away. So what happens is I like fill out some specifics here, very minimal, in terms of the actual requirements, because what happens is every time I get an order, it's usually onboarded to heck right before they purchase the order. That's my process. Like, I onboard them, we talk about it, we have a video call, we have a discussion. So this is why you're gonna see me kind of like skim through this and like add some really basic stuff right now. So this is like, please attach your branding guidelines, logo files, and any logo images. Oh. And this is something that, this is the very first thing that I'm gonna edit, obviously, after the gig is published. But again, this is really specific to what I do. And because of how I'm priced and because of how I set up everything, the description, the frequently asked questions and everything, people will message me. And before they even spend money on this, I guarantee you, even if a couple of weeks go back and I haven't updated the requirements form, when they purchase, I will have all the information I need, all the files I need. There will not be any mismatch or any misaligned expectations or whatever. I will have everything I need. This is my how I do things, to be honest. But I will update it after the video is approved and after the gig is fully live. I will update this as I go. So please attach your branding guidelines, logo files, and any images of your product. Where will this video be used? Do you have any questions? Yeah, I think that's good for now. Oh yeah, the new image guidelines. So that's super cool. So they actually are actively trying to work some of the kinks out, and they finally provided us with a resolution. It's still, I have no idea why they have like they serve the gig image completely different when it comes to the mobile experience. Like, it gets cropped heavily, and a completely different size of the same image. It's getting kind of like squished when people are viewing it on your gig page and on search results on desktop. So it's a huge mess. They are trying to fix it, and they are providing us with some specific numbers in terms of resolution and such. So that's a good step forward. But at the same time, it's still a mess. And being a designer and a motion graphics artist, it's really messy for me, because I want, the ability to actually use different sized images to better serve different use cases. So when someone's watching, they're browsing on their mobile phone or the cell phone, they need to see a different part of the image. So I need to work on different sizes, I guess. Maybe Fiverr will do so in the future. I'm not sure, but here's hoping. So once again, I have created everything according to Fiverr's guidelines. My video is, I've been working on it for months, and it's finally ready. So everything is set up just so it's ready to go. So I'm gonna upload my video. And again, if you choose, even if you don't make videos and you do want to upload a video, this is like something that you need to work on beforehand. It's very important that you get at least the guidelines correct, the duration, the file size and everything. And I'm gonna upload my pictures. Oh, so this is important, I think. I didn't mention. So file names actually matter a lot more than people might think of. You know, the actual file names, if they match your title, tags, and description, it actually complements the SEO and it actually helps indexing. I'm not talking about ranking, I'm talking about indexing. Like Fiverr, the Fiverr engine speaks in technical terms, I guess. So they don't know what the word is, but they can tell when the word is the same throughout. So if your images are named correctly, that will help you with indexing. You will index faster, probably higher. I'm not talking about ranking because performance is key and relevance is key, but at the same time, naming, you know, the files instead of, you know, gibberish.jpg, if you actually name it after your title, it will benefit your gig. So in this case, this is exactly what I've done. I've taken all 3 or 4 rather, you know, different titles and that I assume people will be searching for. They are being used throughout my description, titles, and tags, so it's complementary, and it will help me rank faster. So this is what I do because I have, you know, put a lot of thought into this. So I do have 3 very specific gig images I want to use, but at the same time, if you notice, my video is going to be pending review for quite a while. Usually they say up to 24 hours. I updated another gig of mine a couple of days back, and it took them 72 hours to get to it. So I had to email them and ask them to look into it, and then it was approved. So because I've put so much thought into the actual thumbnail of the video, which is what people will see, I actually made a copy of that thumbnail and created a static image, which will be then used as my main thumbnail until my video is processed. So once my video is processed and I get to set the correct thumbnail based on the video file, then I go back, edit my gig, delete that, you know, placeholder image, and add the official 3rd image of my gig. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's, you know, that's my process. This is all about branding, actually. I want to make sure that even though my video is not yet processed, like if anyone searches and I come up, they don't see a random image out of context. So they need to see the thumbnail that has a very specific text on it to help them understand what this is about. So, okay. Let me do that once over because I forgot that the very first image that you upload is actually the main one, the primary one. So I want this to be this one. And then I want to use this one, number 2. And this one will be my 3rd image for now. And I'll come back, or maybe no, it's too similar. Let me add my 3rd image. Darn it. There we go. Yeah. So this is pretty much my process. I think I've covered everything. I haven't had time to actually create the PDF file that I usually like to create before publishing a gig. Again, it's not detrimental to me ranking the gig with I can do rather well because everything else is pretty much spot on, to the best of my knowledge at least. So I'm not going to hurt myself if I don't upload it now and then I choose to add it when, you know, my video is processed and I want to add a couple of more questions to my frequently asked questions. But again, this actually stands that if you want to do better, please, you know, use everything. Use all 3 images. It may not make sense. Like if you're a writer, if you're a web developer, whatever, this is a good spot. Like this is free real estate for you. So at the same time, it does make sense for you to present your best work, or, you know, something eye-catching at least. And at the same time, Fiverr understands boxes, like tick boxes. Does this user have all 3 images used? Yes. Do they have like both PDFs attached? No. So the other user, whoever that may be, like a competitor or whatever, someone equally relevant as you to what the buyer is looking for, they may get a slight upper hand when it comes to that. But if you've done everything else correctly, like especially your gig title, your description, and if you're positioned correctly in terms of pricing and everything else, so that won't matter as much. It's still a good 1 or 2% of the whole ranking formula, I guess. So why not do that? Mateus says, I always add titles in my files for the gallery. That's great. If you mean, you know, visually, like actually using text, it's fine, but you don't want to overdo it. And that goes for thumbnails and gallery images as well. Like you don't want, you know, badges and a whole bunch of text and paragraphs and a whole bunch of terms that actually won't perform as well. Like in my experience, what performs well are like slick images, minimal text, if any, like depending on what you do and what you want to present your buyers with. So this is like my thumbnail for the official video thumbnail. That's what people are gonna see when I come up. So it's eye-catching, it's original for sure. I went through my gig category. I know for sure that I'm gonna stand out on design merit alone. But I tried to not overdo it with text and flashy stuff and badges and things that are against the guidelines. Question by Mateus, what should be on this PDF file? Some samples of work or some details about the gig? That's a great question. So what I usually do is I kind of like present them with either part or my complete process, what I'm gonna need from them. A huge chunk of my PDF files is usually, you know, essentially my requirements. And I do talk about terms, and this is like a gray area because the minute I hit save and continue and I publish this thing, it's going to be bound by Fiverr's terms of service. But that doesn't mean that as a seller, as an individual, as a freelancer, I don't have my own, you know, do's and don'ts, and I don't have my own rules and regulations and guidelines and that sort of thing. So this is a great space for me to do that. It also enhances branding. So if you spend a minute and you add a footer, an image, your signature, digitize, something that welcomes them, this is the place to do it, I think. If you're a writer, maybe it makes sense to add samples. But, you know, it's like if you were buying a CD or a DVD or a Blu-ray, whatever, this is your booklet. This is what accompanies the product. So it's, you know, up to your personal preference. I prefer to kind of like welcome them to my service, throw in a couple of guidelines in there, set expectations. Again, a good place to help manage client expectations and make sure that everyone is aligned. It doesn't make sense for me to add samples there because it's static. So I'm making videos, so that's why my portfolio is there and my live portfolio is there. So it doesn't make sense for me to add, you know, catchy images of videos I made. So that's why I use it as such. But if I were a writer, maybe, you know, I could create some sort of like preview or highlight different styles. Like this is fiction and this is, you know, or articles, this is tech and this is blah, blah, blah. So this is a good way to make a good impression and make sure that whatever it is you do is always on brand. So, you know, your gig images, your gig video, your PDF, everything, please consider yourself a business and, try and make sure that everything is consistent and on brand. Use the same language, be yourself, but at the same time, make everything presentable, and consistent. So I declare that these materials were created by myself, blah, blah, blah. And I think I'm done. Save and continue. Oh, and then I need to hit submit to actually publish. Got it. Yeah, this is a pro gig, which means that so this is like brand new, years ago, I guess, or months ago. I don't even remember when I published the pro gig last, but you actually get verified. Like if you were already a pro seller, you actually got permission to expand to a new vertical. It was really simple. You had to talk to your success manager, the person, your liaison on Fiverr, and they would just flick a switch, and they would ask you for some sort of proof that you can deliver the thing that you say that you will deliver, and then they would flick a switch and you were golden. But what happened now is I actually tried to expand myself to this vertical, and they were like, no, here's a form, fill it out. It was 5 pages long. Again, my name, it's like they have me on record. Like they have my literal track record and my name, like everything. So I had to fill out a new form. That form needed to be approved. They flipped the switch. There was a time delay between propagating the change from the system to my profile before I was even able to select this category. And then cherry on top, now I press submit. Like I'm really happy, really excited, but no, I need to wait another 72 hours for the same team to review my submission and make sure that, everything is, on the up and up. I don't know. That's basically it. I think we're done. This is my process. This is what I do. If you guys don't have any more questions, or I think we're done. Again, my intention is to, moving forward, to kind of like be consistent. I'm gonna pick a date probably and do a weekly kind of like shorter, maybe even a workshop, like something hands-on. It's not gonna be always about Fiverr specifics, like this is what we do, this is the interface, like this is, I wanna expand and, take a different point of view and like talk about business and freelancing in general, which is why I encourage you to actually, ask me questions about your business, stuff that you're having difficulty with, like whether that's negotiating, getting sales in, standing out. This is a really, really saturated marketplace. It could be about anything you want, like pricing, terms, revisions, like whatever of a freelancing career entails. So my goal is to set a date, a weekly one probably, and have a tiny little workshop with however many people want to join, and we can talk. And then if that catches on, if there's some good feedback on those streams, I plan on having, I think I mentioned that to Vicky earlier today, I plan on having a bit more of an interactive platform using SuperPeer. I want to have some sort of like mini webinars where people can come on stage, share experience, share how it is they do things. I don't know. I don't have all the answers to everything. I want to have a sense that this is a community. I want to have a sense that I can talk to people. We're all on the same ocean. We're just on a different vessel, each and every one of us. I don't consider any of you my competition. I consider everyone a peer. So I want to, try and create some sort of mini platform, I guess, since the Fiverr forum is what it is and it won't change for the foreseeable future. I want to make sure that I create something that I can call, a community that people can come to and talk about things openly and help each other. That's all. So unless anyone has any questions, I'm going to end this first kind of like freestyle stream right now. And Mateo says, he didn't miss the stream. That's good. Thank you for coming here. Thank you, Frank, says Vicky. It was good to have a good company together in different places worldwide. Thank you so much for joining. So yeah, that's the end of this stream. I hope this helped with your perception of how gigs are created and how offerings are created. So yeah, we'll speak soon. Thank you guys. Oh, Fiverr Optic has a question, a bit off topic, but you mentioned on the forum about Fiverr expanding Seller Plus and making it effectively a pay to play. Any news on that? Well, yeah, yes and no. Yes, there are definitely news on that front, but no, I don't know if I can mention anything without people going after me. But they are essentially not trying to trick sellers into paying for something. They are trying to make a complete set of tools so that they make the offering so enticing and they make those tools so helpful for you to make more money that you won't even think about twice registering and being on the Seller Plus program. One of them I briefly touched upon today. They will add this amazing, phenomenal SEO tool. So instead of you guessing out all the tags and the title, it's gonna guide you through it. Like, use this title and you're gonna succeed. Use these tags and you're gonna rank better. And there's a couple of other things, like really groundbreaking stuff in terms of what they call seller success. This whole program is called Seller Success. So they're gonna have some features on your inbox soon that you're gonna be able, to tell if this buyer is the right fit for you before they even speak. Some really amazing stuff. It takes time to create different iterations of the product, but new features are being added almost every month. And I'm in beta testing for at least a couple of them. So I'm telling you, the good stuff are coming. Just hang in there. Thank you for your time and advice. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for sharing. I haven't set up a new gig in a while, but wanted to for the new year, so that was good. Thank you so much. So bye, everyone.